I'm back with a new YouTube tutorial. I think you're gonna like this one. Let's jump in. So step one, we're gonna go and find an image for this design. So I went to Pexels, which is free 99, and I grabbed an image to start with. I'll leave this image down in the description so that you'll have access to it if you wanna start from scratch just like me. I size this canvas to 10 by 10 for no specific reason other than I like to design big and then scale down afterwards. Now that we have this image open, let's open another file, ideally the same size as the first one. Next, let's use this rectangle tool over here, and we're going to create a rectangle and make sure it goes to both sides of this composition. Once we have the first one made, we're going to go over here to the right and we're going to click on fill, and we're going to change that to a gradient with no stroke. Now to the easy part, we're just going to duplicate this rectangle and we're going to keep going all the way up the canvas until the whole thing is filled up. Now let's select all of these, then we'll group them, and then we'll convert them to a smart object. Next, we'll go to filter, distort, and twirl. And you can play around with these parameters to make it your own style, but I'm going to stick with this and then I'm going to click OK. Now we're just going to save this file as a texture. This is so we have it for the other image, and I'll just save this as texture 1 and click save. So what we've done here is we've created a texture that we're going to use as the glass effect for the image that you first started with from Pexels. Back in the original image, let's go to filter, then we're going to go to filter gallery. From here, we're just going to click on glass, and then we're going to click on this little hamburger menu and load in the texture that you just built. From here, you're going to be able to manipulate the glass effect however you pretty much want. You can change the distortion, mess around with the smoothness, scaling. You can even invert the whole thing altogether. But once you find what you really like, you've successfully created the glass effect. Now here's the funner part, if that's even a word. If we go back to Pexels, we can search for other images that we want to add this effect to. So here are a few I found, and I was able to get results like this with the same exact effect. And I simply did this by bringing in the image, and then I would drag the effect onto the other image. But actually, the easier way would probably just to be to make this a smart object and then simply double click, change the image, and save it. So here's an image that I found that'll work really well with this effect. So let's edit this just a little bit more. In Camera Raw filter, which is right here, filter, Camera Raw filter, I'm going to then go to the adjustments, and I'm just going to kind of do a bunch of things in here. Feel free to watch and follow along, but this will kind of give this image a bit of a sharpened yet grungier look. I think this looks pretty good, especially for an unplanned artwork. Now let's add in some elements to make this fully stand out like an artistic work. So I'm going to bring in a barcode. I'm going to add some text, a little bit of a texture sample right here. All these things are pretty much 100% subjective to the artist. And that's why I love doing art, because it's pretty much up to what you want to create. Last, I'll add in some scribble because I just like adding that scribble effect to my art. And then we have this muted grungy art with this kind of abstraction from the glass effect that you now know how to make. And to top it off, I've actually done something special for this tutorial, and I'm giving you access to this source file so you can try it out yourself and kind of see how I made this. I'm going to also make this image a smart object, which I didn't do in this tutorial, but that'll just make it easier for you to just double click and put your image in. Check the link in the description for the download to that, and I'll add a texture pack. So if you want to switch out these different textures, you can get results like these. And that's all I got for this tutorial. I just wanted to give you something dope that you can create right there in Photoshop. If you want to see something different, let me know down in the comments and I'll get to it. All right, it's Jay.